People keep asking me where these shirts are from. These are all from T-Turtle. They're not a sponsor, not in any way, shape, or form, but they are absolutely adorable. Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and this is Where Are They Now? Looking back at reviews from a year ago, seeing what's changed, what hasn't changed, and as usual, I'll be putting these in sections, so you can check out timestamps, all that. You can skip the first, 7 or 8, because the first 7 or 8 are just reviews that haven't changed. I rattle through them fairly quickly, because nothing's changed. I haven't in any way played them again. Not they haven't changed, sorry, worse than that. I haven't even played them again, so nothing could change. Then I have a few that haven't changed, but I've played them again, so they're just staying fairly consistent. And then there's others that have changed, and as usual, disclaimer, change does not mean that the review number actually changed. It just means I've updated thoughts in some way, shape, or form, even if the number is exactly the same. But I also play them again, and things, well, we'll talk about it. Let's go ahead and dive into it. So, this is Where Are They Now? Starting off with the section of games I have not played since I last covered them. To that end, we have a bunch of them because more and more in this particular phase, I was doing a lot of prototypes. One of the interesting things about looking back a year is it does mean that I'm going to constantly be, well, a year ahead of what I was doing at the time. Like right now, for example, I do probably closer to 50-50, not even honestly. I probably do more non-prototypes than prototypes at this point, but that's not true a year ago. A year ago, a lot of my coverage was almost exclusively prototypes. I was very heavily focusing on just Kickstarter content, and while I've tried shifting away from that more and more just because prototypes get exhausting after a certain point, at this point, in this yearly look back, we'll be up to those. So starting off with Aldabas Doors of Cartagena. This is a game from Grand Gamers Guild. Gave it a 3 out of 5. I enjoyed it, but I also didn't love it. Kickstarter will arrive at some point. I may be getting a copy from the publisher. I know I didn't back it myself. It's a good game, but one that did not overly compel me. We had Vivid Memories, a 3 out of 5. Again, that one did land, and it looks like the reviews are mostly lining up. It seems it's getting a lot of coverage that seems to be indicating, hey, it's a good game, but not a great game, which is kind of how I felt. It's from the company that made Sagrada. Sagrada is a much better experience, in my opinion. Vivid Memories did a lot of things that were very compelling, but the end result was a game that was a little overly thinky with not enough payoff for me. 3 out of 5, haven't played it since. We have Connecting Flights. Connecting Flights was another 3 out of 5. I really enjoyed the solo game of Connecting Flights, but not enough to keep it over other solo games. And as a multiplayer experience, there's just other games that I think were cleaner that I'd rather play. It had promise, and I know that some of the complaints that I had, they were addressing. Again, many of these are prototypes. In fact, everything I just told you was a prototype coverage, so the reviews take them with a grain of salt. Things could change. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Connecting Flights was another 3 out of 5 for me. Good solo play, decent regular play, some problems that they were addressing. I don't know how it played out from there. Guildmaster. This was a final production copy. Guildmaster from Grand Gamers Guild. That's not true. From Good Games Publishing. Just too many G's at this point. Guildmaster was a 3 out of 5 as well. It did a lot of things that were a lot of fun. They had powers and abilities left, right, and center. They had a lot of little cutthroatness stuff going on. But it felt a little cluttery physically cluttery. You had giant player aid screens, and you're picking things up behind the screen. Just felt a degree of unnecessary extra involved with it that just didn't line up nicely with the game experience. And the game experience had enough critiques that I liked it. I did not love Grand Gamers Guild. I liked it. But that was a 3 out of 5. We had, not Grand Gamers Guild, geez, I did not like Guildmaster. I did not love Guildmaster. I liked Guildmaster. We have Robot Quest Arena. That's another 3 out of 5. This one would arguably be a 3.5. Back a year ago, I was doing hard 3s, 4s, 5s, which means some things would shift one way or the other. Honestly, from everything I said so far, Aldabas, Vivid Memories, Connecting Flights, Guildmaster, they all probably would be a 3 out of 5. Robot Quest Arena was a 3, but probably would be a 3.5, just thinking the small distinctions I have as far as a 3 versus a 3.5. I like Robot Quest Arena a lot, but not enough to pull the trigger on. It's a deck building game of, well, robot arena madness and combat and all that. It had a lot of fun moments though, and I had a lot of fun playing it. It's a lighter game and an experience that I don't know if I need for my own collection, but I'd always be down to play, which already shifts it more to a 3.5 out of 5. We have Castlescape. That's another 3 out of 5, another prototype, another one that also would probably stick at a 3. Castlescape was a deck building game that I had mixed experiences with it. I had multiple plays, and some plays were better than others. I found that the core engine of what it's doing, I'm very intrigued by. I think it has the potential to be a very solid deck building, area control, castle building game. In its current form, I had a few complaints around it that I would have liked to see things done differently. That, again, prototype, so hard to say, but for 3 out of 5 for me. We have Red Rising. Red Rising is probably a 3.5. I mean, I say probably because, again, it's a 3 out of 5 in my rating scale back then. It would probably be a 3.5 right now. In terms of the small distinctions, again, I like Red Rising a lot. I got 7-8 plays in, somewhere in that range. I got a bunch of plays in. I had a lot of fun with it. but at a certain point I found Red Rising was just I liked the end game of Red Rising. I didn't like the game of Red Rising. That was my big complaint. I loved the end of scoring everything up, of adding up all my cards, of trying to figure out where I am with everything and how I built my little puzzle. But I didn't enjoy the process of building that puzzle, and that was a bit of a death blow for me against the game. So Red Rising, good game, got a lot of plays in it. I should probably play Fantasy Realms at some point, the game it was based on, because I've heard from people that one is better. But maybe I'll read the books of Red Rising too, because I've heard from other people that they like the game more after reading the books, so that could be a factor as well. Maybe if you just know the characters, it matters more. For me, I didn't love the process, I liked the end result. Then we had Ice. Ice is a game from This Way Games, I believe. Ice was a prototype game. Red Rising was a final production copy, by the way. So far, from everything I said, Red Rising and Guildmaster were the only 2 final production copies. Everything else was a prototype. Ice was another prototype I played that I really liked. That one is a 4 to 5, and I'm going to stick with that one for now. I mean, I haven't played it since, but my excitement is still there. One of the things that's interesting about games is sometimes you don't even have to play a game again. Sometimes just excitement is a factor. I'm excited to get my copy of Ice. I want my copy of Ice. I want to dive back into it. Will that excitement hold up after multiple plays? Time will tell. But I really liked Ice. It was a very compelling engine of diving underneath the surface, of trying to uncover tiles. The scoring was messy. My biggest concern, and whether or not it will stay in my collection, might hinge on this. The scoring of Ice was messy and fiddly and just cluttered. The rest of the game I really liked. I hope that they really put it through playtesting and development, because I know I gave them my feedback and they said they were looking at things and doing all this stuff. I hope Ice produces a very clean game, because I really like the concept and the execution. I just need aspects of it cleaned up. 4 to 5 has the potential to go down. Definitely does, because a prototype, and yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it, but worried about it at the same time. Then we had Fall of the Mountain King. Fall of the Mountain King is another game I have not played since. That was given a 5 out of 5. I can see myself giving it a 4.5 out of 5. I'll give you the distinctions shortly. Ever since shifting to the 0.5 ratings, different things have happened. A lot of my 3s have shifted to 3.5s, and a lot of my 5s have shifted to 4.5. Some things shift up, some things shift down. It's a very contingent upon how I feel about a game. To me, a 3 out of 5 is a game that's good, but also not excited about. A 3.5 has that extra level of, I may not need to own it, but like I really liked aspects of it more so than just a 3. Versus a 5, I mean, once it's a 5, when you have 0.5s in play, a 5 feels like it should be rarer, and so I have been more rare, more what's the word for it? More stingy with my 5s since switching to a 0.5 system. To that end, I don't know what Fall of Mountain King would play at. I think it would be a 4.5. I need to play it again. I know that every time I played it, I really liked it. My entire game group really liked it. But again, that was then. And the truth is, this is a lie. This is a lie. Fall of the Mountain King should not be in the games I haven't played since. So let's immediately jump to the next section, because it was the last one anyway. So I'm going to timestamp this. I'll start this again. Fall of the Mountain King is in the section of games that my review hasn't changed. Because Fall of the Mountain King was a 5 out of 5. I played it multiple times since reviewing it. I forgot about this. I actually played it multiple times since reviewing it, because I had the prototype for a while. There's even a film playthrough after I reviewed it. But Fall of the Mountain King is a game that my game group really enjoyed. We liked it a lot. I'm still going to keep it tentatively at a 5 out of 5. I could see it shifting down, but I would need to play it again with the mindset of my 4.5s versus a 5. Either way, it's a good rating. I really enjoyed Fall of the Mountain King. Easily my favorite game from Burnt Island Games. Then we have Drawn to Adventure. Again, we're in the review has not changed section. Drawn to Adventure, game I played a few times after the review. I liked it, and I got rid of it. It was a game that, I said this in my review, I gave it a 3 out of 5. Probably be a 3.5 out of 5. But it's a game that I like what Drawn to Adventure is doing, but also it runs a little long for the type of, roll and write game it is. There's other games I'd rather play at that point in the roll and write genre. So I like Drawn to Adventure, 3.5 out of 5, we'll keep it there. Technically it's a boost, but again, I don't know if I call it changing, if I changed my system and not the opinion of the game. We have Whistle Mountain. Whistle Mountain was a 4, and it stays at a 4. Whistle Mountain is a game that I did wonder if it would go up for me. 4 to 5, and it stays at 4 to 5 for me. This is one that I wondered if it would go up because I really liked some of the things it's doing, and it's a game that whenever we played it, I was excited to pull it out and excited to dive into it. I had that degree of excitement that often is attached to 4.5s or higher as opposed to a 4. I still like Whistle Mountain. Still like it a lot. It has shifted, though, a drop from being... And it's still where it is rating-wise, because where I left off with Whistle Mountain when I rated it is I thought it might go up. It hasn't gone up. It stayed where it is. It hasn't gone down either, and so it's going to be pretty stable. Whistle Mountain continues to deliver an excellent experience whenever I play it, but also it has just enough messiness that it keeps stable. Will it stay forever? I don't know. I still really like what Whistle Mountain is doing. It is one of those games that flew under the radar comparatively speaking. I think it's worth paying attention to. I think it's worth picking up. It's just powers and abilities and your engine and buildings and everything you do gives you stuff. You're trying to optimize how you get stuff. I really like Whistle Mountain. Very solid game from Bezier Games. We have Zombicide Black Plague. Now, this is a tricky one because Zombicide Black Plague technically wasn't in a review. It was in a Play This Not That with Zombicide 2nd Edition, but generally for my own rating systems, if I put it in a Play This Not That, since I usually give scores to both, I call it a review as well. So while I've never given Zombicide Black Plague a dedicated review, maybe one day I will, we'll see. Zombicide Black Plague was paired up against Zombicide 2nd Edition, and it got a 5 out of 5, and it's going to stay at a 5 out of 5. Strictly speaking, my opinion of Zombicide Black Plague has shifted a drop because Marvel Zombies is now above it, but practically speaking, my opinion of Zombicide Black Plague hasn't shifted at all because it's still an amazing game that I love it every single time I play it. 5 out of 5, love the experience, has not changed for a long time now. With expansion content, if that matters. It probably does matter because I'm not talking about the base game alone, but I love the experience I get out of this game. Then we have Fleet. Fleet the Dice game, gave that one a 4 out of 5. Has not changed. I still like Fleet the Dice game. Still enjoy it a lot. I've since gotten the Three Sisters, and I've managed to play the Motor City one as well. I like all of them. Don't know if I have a preference. Every time I try to think which one I prefer, I pick one, and then I jump to the next one, and then I jump to the next one. So all of them are good. I like all of them. And that's the section of reviews that have not changed. Games I've played again, the review has not changed. Which brings us to usually the most interesting section, which is reviews that have changed. Again, not always a point score. Sometimes it's just a nuance or differences. In the case of Zombicide 2nd Edition, it is a point score. Zombicide 2nd Edition, I did a Play This Not That with Zombicide Black Plague. I gave it a 4 versus a 5. So Black Plague got a 5, Zombicide 2nd Edition got a 4. I'm going to drop it to a 3. Not a 3.5, a 3. I continued to play Zombicide 2nd Edition after that review, and I continued to dive into it, and I like a lot of things Zombicide in general does, and Zombicide 2nd Edition as well. I like a lot of the aspects they did. I really particularly enjoyed aspects of the campaign. The day-night phase was a lot of fun to go through. The whole flashlights and managing that sequence and how they activate differently. The campaign cards you lay on the map, lots of fun. I cannot get over, though. I cannot get over the fact that at no point in our campaign for Zombicide 2nd Edition did I ever feel in any degree of threat whatsoever. We can make the riskiest, stupidest decisions ever, and we would not in any way die. We just couldn't die. It's just, that's a problem for me. That's a big problem. And I said as much in the review, but I think I was still on the high of the excitement of it. But as I continue to play it, it's gone down because, like, I don't want to play Zombicide 2nd Edition. I don't. Like, if it was the only Zombicide alive, sure, I would take it, and I'd house rule it more. And we already were house ruling it. So I still like Zombicide 2nd Edition. I still think it's a good game, but I just, it can't function as a game if I cannot die. And we could not die. So that's our experience with Zombicide 2nd Edition. It's gone down for me, gone down from a 4 to a 3, based on the subsequent plays after our initial review coverage. Then we have Merchant's Cove. Merchant's Cove was a 4. Here we go, Merchant's Cove. This one was a 4 to 5 for me. It's still a 4 to 5 for me, but I don't know if I'm going to get this played. My original commitment to Merchant's Cove, not commitment's a harsh word, my original assumption or thought of how Merchant's Cove would play out is that I would play through all the factions and then get rid of it. Meaning I liked the game, but I liked it from a sense of exploration. I liked trying the new roles they had. I liked trying all the different stuff, and then I figured I would get rid of it after I dove into each of the types of things. I haven't dove into the expansion stuff. I haven't pulled out the Secret Stash. I have only played the base game so far, and that's because nobody plays this with me. Jesse and Shira don't love it, and so I'm not going to play it with them. My other game group, they just didn't seem to be that interested in the idea or the premise of it, and so I haven't found a suitable place to table this, and I don't think it functions as well at 2 players. And so I kind of need 3 or 4 players, and I just don't know when that will happen. I like Merchant's Cove, I really do. At a certain point, if it doesn't get played, if I realize it will not get tabled because I need other people who are willing to table it with me, it may be a victim of other people's fault. That might happen. Not yet. I'm not ready to get rid of it yet, but it is starting to get that little, like, death knell of me realizing a game is not getting tabled. Not specifically. The way I usually look at it when I get rid of games is not whether a game is getting tabled. It's if I look at you and I understand that you're not going to get tabled. Something about you, whether it's the people, the game, me, whatever it is, when I look at you on the shelf and I'm like, no one's going to pull you off and play you, that's when I get rid of games. And so Merchant's Cove might leave because I don't know when it gets played. I keep hoping for new friends, but honestly, the friends I have are pretty good, so there is that balance there. Chai Tifa 2. Chai Tea for Two is a game that my opinion has changed a bit in this one. Now, I haven't actually played Chai Tea for Two, which is interesting. I have not played it since my coverage of it. It's a prototype. It's a prototype coverage. I gave it a 4 to 5, but my opinion has been colored a bit, and I'm not entirely sure if it's because of the game, meaning did my excitement go down, or it's because they had some drama around the campaign, deliveries, and all that. I'm putting a question mark on this one, just that I'm less excited about Chai Tea for Two. I was excited about it, and I'm less excited about it. I think it's peripheral factors that are not related to the game itself, to be fair, but I'll see. I still have a pledge. When it comes in, when I play it, we'll talk about it then, but otherwise, Chai Tea for Two right now is gone from a 4 to a question mark that I need to try again and see. It might be 3.5. Again, that might be the game itself, honestly, because now that I have 3.5s, that one might have shifted down a drop to a 3.5. I don't know. We have Drunagor, Chronicles of Drunagor, over here. Chronicles of Drunagor, a 4 to 5, and it's one that's staying a 4 to 5 for now, but it's a 4 to 5 that I'm not currently playing. Now, some of it is their fault, not mine, because this is a game that could absolutely play solo. I could even set up a campaign and start streaming it. I'm streaming on Twitch now and doing all these things and playing solo games over there, solo and cooperative games, but Chronicles of Drunagor, the problem is that they came out with the expansion for Chronicles of Drunagor, the Apocalypse, or whatever it is, and the Apocalypse, they're going to add a lot more story-driven stuff to it, and their backwards compatibility story-driven the whole first campaign. And I think it makes the experience better. So I'm kind of in this weird holding pattern where I have this giant box of a game on my shelf that I would love to sit down and table, but I don't know when that's happening because of them. So again, this one's getting another asterisk like a Chai Tea for Two, but it's not an asterisk that my opinion is changing. I still like Chronicles of Drunagor. I still do have the concern that it was a messy game to table. It absolutely was. That might make it a game that, even though I like it a lot, if it doesn't get tabled, it doesn't get tabled. That is a practical reality of things. For right now, though, I don't know, because the reason I'm not tabling it yet is their fault. So right now, it's sitting on my shelf. It's taking up space. And I look at it, and I remember the times I've had with it, the good times I've had with it, and I'm still waiting for the expansion to dive into that one. So we'll see. Another question mark. From there we have Adventure Tactics. Adventure Tactics, a 4 to 5. I give this one a 4 to 5, and I'm going to stand by that rating as well with another caveat. We got a whole bunch of caveats today. I really like Adventure Tactics, but I was playing it primarily with my children, and that was a factor as well in the way I interacted. The leveling up of the characters, a ton of fun. The actual gameplay felt fairly simple, for the most part, although that could change as you continue to play. I can't remember where exactly we left off when I reviewed it, but maybe the more you play it, the more nuanced strategy there is, but I enjoyed the game a lot. I enjoyed the building of your characters. I enjoyed the roles. It has one of the best upgrading systems I've had in a game ever, but then my kids stopped playing with me. And so at a certain point, it actually went on my shelf of games that I would get rid of. But my daughter, Ricky, she stopped me and she's like, could we play together? Could just you and I? Because we'll make the time for it. And so I told her yes. I don't know if it'll happen or not. I told her we'll try. We have a few other games we're going through first. We have to complete those. But Chronicles of Drunagor is a game, not Chronicles of Drunagor, Adventure Tactics. Adventure Tactics is a game that was a lot of fun, temporarily stopped playing, is currently in a holding pattern, and we'll see what happens with it. Again, I stand by my rating of it completely. It's at the end of the day, if you have kids that you're playing it with them and they don't ask to play it, even if you're having a good time, there's a weird balance there. But again, I'm trying it right now with my older daughter alone and not the rest of the kids, so we'll see. Destinies. Destinies is one that, this one I gave a 5 to 5, and the reason it's here is not because my opinion is changing. Destinies, and I'm not even putting it down to a 4.5, at least not yet. Maybe eventually, at some point these look-backs will cover, 2 years back, 3 years back, we'll figure it out, probably in shorter detail, hopefully. Like, maybe I'll skip the stuff that haven't changed, I'll just talk about things that have changed. But Destinies is one where I give it a 5 to 5, and I think I've played it like twice since then. I just stopped playing it at a certain point, with asterisks and caveats. That is not acceptable for a game that's a 5 out of 5. I'm not saying this as it shouldn't be acceptable. I'm saying it's genuinely not. The idea that a game that's a 5 out of 5 for me is not getting tabled in a year, that's not a 5 out of 5 for me, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I can't play my whole collection. That's fine. That's reasonable. I understand that. You can't rotate everything. I mean, I do play my collection. That's why I do things, but I won't rotate them all the time. Maybe some games get one play a year. Maybe some games get a play every 18 months. Fine. 5 out of 5s should get played. If I love it that much, it should get played. So what happened? What went wrong with Destinies? What went wrong is I was supposed to play this with Jesse and Shiro, with Quacklo. I started with them, and then I wanted to continue. I got some games solo in, but solo is not the way I like Destinies. I don't like it as a solo experience. And my wife did not like Destinies, so my wife's out, and I was playing with Jesse and Shiro as a regular ongoing, not really campaign, but single shot. We're kind of going to campaign it, and I have a box full of I have a cubby full of all the extras and everything for it. But we just didn't make the time to table it together. We always were busy. Jesse was moving here. Crackle was moving to Cleveland, and everything was it just got pushed off again and again and again. Where I am with Destinies right now so practically speaking, it's a 5 out of 5 that I didn't have the right opportunities to play it. So where I am with it right now, though, is there's someone local, someone who's joined our game group as well, actually a patron, a local patron. He is someone who I'm going to be trying to sit down and table Destinies with. I have to figure out exactly when I'm making time for it, like when does it fit into our schedule, but I'm probably going to try starting to make time to go through the whole thing. I love Destinies. I just need to actually play it. And then I'll update it at some point if maybe my opinion goes down, maybe it shifts to a 4.5 now that I have those. I'm not ready to do that right now. I love Destinies. And speaking of love, I'm going to do something that is, it's a good testament of the gap between how much I love something versus how much I love something. But The Witcher. The Witcher is a 5 out of 5 for me. The Witcher is a game that the review hasn't changed. It hasn't. Why is it here? Because I love it so much, and I'm so excited for The Witcher, and I'm excited to dive back into it as soon as I get a copy, that I'm taking it out of the section of things I haven't played since, and I'm moving it here just so I can tell you how much I like it. That's the level of like that I have for The Witcher. That's it. There's no excuse here. There's no whatever. There's nothing clever. There's just, I like it so much, I want to focus attention on it. Again, that's where I am. Like Fall of the Mountain King, it's great, but that one I'm like, maybe be a 4.5, maybe not. A Mosaic, which is probably coming up next month, I believe, just based on when I reviewed them. Because I remember there were like a few that were in rapid succession in terms of games I covered. Maybe Aquatica's coming soon, or was Aquatica last month? I don't remember. But like in a 6-week period, there's like 5 games that gave a 5 out of 5 to. I think it was Aquatica, Mosaic, The Witcher. It might have been Wild Descent, but Wild Descent might have been earlier. I don't remember exactly which ones. But The Witcher, I am so ridiculously looking forward to. I'm just saying it's, well, I guess Destinies too. Destinies got a 5 out of 5. Whatever it was, I cannot wait to dive back into The Witcher. I hope the solo play holds up, because I just don't think it's going to get tabled as much as I want it to get tabled if I'm just relying on competitive or cooperative play. But if I'm relying on some solo play, I think I'll get tabled more. I don't know why I like it so much. I don't know. I like the deck building, I like the adventuring, I like the story aspects, the cards, and the way they lead you down certain quests. My biggest concerns and critiques were things they strongly addressed in the Kickstarter itself. They already had them planned. I really, 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 really like The Witcher. Granted, I have to play it some more because, you know, it's been a while. I had to send the prototype on, and maybe if I'll dive back into it, I'll find myself let down. Maybe that can happen, but I just recently had a chance to play Endless Winter again online, and it absolutely held up, so some things hold up, some things don't. But my excitement level for The Witcher is enough that, excitement based on playing it, not just excitement, my excitement based on playing it, based on enjoying it, based on seeing the game, I cannot wait to get The Witcher back. That's all. And so I'm putting it here for the end of the video, just so I can do that. Just break the rules, because why not? In any case, that has been everything. These have been the Where Are They Nows, what's going on, reviews from a year ago, where my current hype and excitement, the things that drift down, the things that have left, all those stuff. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, have a good one.